That's St Mary's Cathedral, and this is in Hyde Park. There's a group of kids there doing something or other, and a lot of people just enjoying their lunch on a Tuesday in the park. And then there's a small group gathered who are a trans counter protest to John Ruddick having in state parliament. He's got a transitioner talking today, someone who has had who I think's had a sex change operation and is now regretful. So this rally is called anti-TERF rally. So that a TERF is a trans exclusionary radical feminist. So it's a feminist who doesn't believe that a trans woman is an actual woman. So that's a TERF, I think. I'm not sure. And there's there's a reasonable number of cops around, an ambulance, because there was, I think one of their group was having a cry, or a girl anyway, just down there. So the cops went to attend to that. But it's a very small amount of people. I thought there might have been more, but that's it.
Next Tuesday at the New South Wales Parliament, John Ruddick is hosting yet another anti-trans forum, same as last year. This time, he's laundering his bullshit queerphobia through the lens of detransition. They're going to have Chloe Cole, who has helped pass anti-trans legislation in the US, is coming to export that bullshit here. Our MPs will be there taking notes on how to clean up their talking points while they sharpen their knives to carve up our equality bill.
I think it is important for the queer and trans community to show up en masse to demand that our MPs do not enforce the social death of our communities at this critical point.
We meet at 1 p.m. sharp at the Archibald Fountain in Hyde Park. We are marching down the street, out the front of the house. We are going to be making sure every one of the cretins filing through that door hears us roar.
It is important that our queer and trans community show up to demand that no MP will be allowed to hold their heads up at any of our events, at any pride event, at Mardi Gras, and say that they support queer rights, when in fact they are just denying our visibility and our rights and our movement.
I'm going to be there, we're going to be there, so get ready to take the streets.
We'll meet you there at 1 p.m. sharp next Tuesday.
So this is Hyde Park in Sydney. This is the back of the Captain Cook statue. And there's two ladies sitting there to give you an idea. But apparently the people that half cut his foot off, they rigged up the ropes between that tree and I'm assuming that tree, and then climbed up somehow or got there. But I think that's where they got in trouble, because they couldn't do a hit and run. They were fight-assing around for so long. But can't. Oh yeah, you can just see there. So look, you can just see the saw mark in his ankle when they got caught. And so they're about halfway through one ankle, and they got done. Captain Cook.
Trans rights are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. When trans rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. And why? Yes. Okay, I've got to get my papers. And why are we here today? Because John Ruddick, the libertarian piece of shit over there in the Parliament, has decided to run a cute little forum on attacking those very trans rights. You see, our equality bill is currently under debate day in, day out behind the scenes in that Parliament. There is MPs doing little deals to cut and trim little sections out of that bill. And John Ruddick's little forum today is about framing that bill as an attack on Christian rights, on the rights of parents, and that is a load of shit. This is a bill to enshrine our rights. One of the members who has been fighting for this bill is Amanda Cohn of the Greens, and today she's going to come up and tell us about that fight, because nobody knows about what's going on in there. So, Amanda, come on up.
It's wonderful to be here with you on unceded Gadigal land. And we're here today because there's an event at Parliament that's about detransitioner. And I'm going to talk about what that is for the other people in the park today. I know that the people going to be trying to know what that is. So a detransitioner is someone who's gone through a gender-affirming medical care and then later regrets that decision. And I have great sympathy for people who go through medical care and then regret that decision. We actually know that the rate of regret for something like a knee reconstruction is actually quite high. People who have knee reconstruction sometimes regret that operation. People who go through breast augmentation surgery often regret that decision. Surgery is a really big decision, and sometimes you can regret it. But the rates of regret for gender-affirming surgery in particular, because it's so hard to get, because people wait for years and years and years to access it and have to get referred through multiple medical professions, often saving up tens of thousands of dollars for this. The rates of regret for gender-affirming surgery are actually extraordinarily low, and much lower than knee reconstruction surgery, for example. So there's an event at the Parliament today that's platforming the experiences of those detransitioners, and what really breaks my heart is that the purpose of that event is to stop other people from accessing the medical care that they need. It's not about those individuals and their rights, it's about stopping trans and gender diverse people across New South Wales from having a right to safe medical care and from being able to affirm their gender. And that's just not okay. And this event is being hosted by the Libertarian Party. The Libertarian Party is supposed to be about individual liberty and individual freedom. And what we're talking about is adults actually having a right to their own body and a right to their own medical care. And when someone is making an informed choice and supported by medical professionals, of course they should be allowed to do that. And the broader Australian public, of course, would agree with that. It's absolutely ridiculous that this is an idea being put forward by the Libertarian Party. And the fact that their event is happening at Parliament might lead people to believe that there's a certain amount of institutional validity in that, that that's a legitimising platform to have. But it's important for you to know that anybody can have an event at Parliament if any single MP, Member of Parliament, supports it. So all that these people needed was for that one MP from the Libertarian Party to agree to host the event, and they can have a room at Parliament. So last year in 2023, my office also hosted an event at Parliament. We booked out the Theaterette and we had a drag story time event during the school holidays, which was absolutely magical and wholesome. We had a sing-along to High School musical from Woody the Cowboy and a talking horse puppet. And it was just a wonderful opportunity to showcase how inclusive and how joyful these kind of events can be. So where do we go from here with this debate about gender-affirming care? Quay already talked about the Equality Bill. The Equality Bill is a bill that's before the New South Wales Parliament at the moment. All it does is bring New South Wales into line with other states and territories in Australia. There is a lot of fear-mongering happening in the media, on social media, from special interest groups, from the far right, that basically are threatening that the sky might fall in if we allow people to access medical care to affirm their gender or to change their documents. It's literally already happening in other states in Australia. I live in Albury-Wodonga, where I can literally walk for 10 minutes across the river to Victoria, where people can change the gender markers on their documents without having to have violating and medically unnecessary surgery. I don't think anybody walking through Hyde Park today would think that the sky has fallen in Victoria because we allowed this to happen. These arguments are just ridiculous. They are clutching at any straw that they possibly can to stop trans and gender diverse people from having the rights that they deserve here in New South Wales. Shame. We recently had a historic apology at the New South Wales Parliament. The Premier apologised to people who were impacted by the laws that criminalised homosexuality before 1984. It was a really beautiful day. It's a day that I was proud to have been a part of, and you got an overwhelming sense that everybody at the Parliament was regretful for what happened. That when people heard the stories of how, now quite elderly gay men were treated before 1984, the vast majority now agree that that is not okay and we cannot do this again. But when you hear the way that trans and gender diverse people are talked about now in 2024, there is a striking and horrifying resemblance. That people literally just trying to go about their day, participate in community life, have jobs, get an education, play sport, are being painted as somehow deviant or dangerous or unsafe with children. All of these arguments are just nonsense. And it's deliberate. It's deliberate to concoct a sense of fear and opposition to people who deserve to be able to participate fully in community life. Thank you all for being here today. It's really, really wonderful to know that I'm not the only person who's frustrated and upset about what's happening at the Parliament today. I am more than happy to book rooms at the Parliament in future for beautiful queer events like Craig's Story Time. So if there's something else that you want to do, please let me know.
Where bigots are not welcome here. Racist, sexist, anti-queer.
Bigots are not welcome here.
Racist, sexist, anti-queer.
Bigots are not welcome here.
Racist, sexist, anti-queer.
Bigots are not welcome here.
Racist, sexist, anti-queer. John Ruddick is not welcome here. That one's a bit complicated. I'm really winging it today. I'm not supposed to take up a whole lot of real estate here. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that any MP can do that. But it's also an opportunity. We can take that Parliament. It can be our Parliament. We can be at the front. And yes, with Amanda's help, we can be inside. I get inside there sometimes. So, our next speaker is you. Because here's the thing. I was in there just a couple of months ago when they had their inquiry into the Equality Bill. And it was a fucking sham. Shame. See, the thing is, they wanted to look into the legitimacy and the potential benefits of that Equality Bill, which every one of you knows. I know that everyone in this crowd knows exactly what that bill could do for us. And the thing about that is, not one of us was there. There was about 2-3 trans people who got any kind of hearing at that event. 2 whole days. But you know who did get a voice? The Australian Christian Lobby. Shame! I was in there, went in the room, not 1 month after conversion therapy had been banned, they were advocating for its return. I can't remember his name. He's probably fucking irrelevant, but his disgusting fucking face was spewing the most hateful bile about how the only cure to transgender identity is our return. I'm really fucking... But you know what? It's time to have our voices heard. And so I want members of our community to come up now and tell us about their identity, about their experiences, about their struggle. So, come on. Who's coming up? Come on, please. Juno! You've been working on something. Come on, please. Let's go.
Hello. Well, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge that today we are all gathered on the unceded and occupied land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. This land that we're standing on was stolen by colonial force and has continued to be retained by colonial force. And I'd like to extend my solidarity forever to every indigenous people and nation standing up and fighting back occupation from Gomeroi country to the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, fighting back apartheid from Palestine to the Northern Territory, fighting back settler colonialism from the Wet'suwet'en territory to Gadigal land. Sovereignty was never ceded, and it always was and always will be Aboriginal land. It always was and always will be
Aboriginal land!
My name is Juno, and I'm a proud trans woman of color and a member of the Queer Action Collective at the University of Sydney. Well, I've written up like 3 sentences, honestly, but we'll go off with that. So it's Pride Month, and our certified cooker and stupid white bastard John Ruddick just had to drag shameless trans folks out of state. Like he's here importing bigots off the street from outside so-called Australia to sell an all-American hate.
Couldn't even find one here.
Couldn't even find one here. These grifters are here to sell a Yankee septic tank culture war, made, produced, and assembled in the USA to manufacture violence against our queer and trans communities on our streets.
Shame!
Shame. Ruddick and his carnival of clowns, straight out of the clown car, are performing a circus of a forum to platform transphobic attacks on our rights. They are out here to cough up the driest, stalest talking points from the same old scare tactics to fearmonger about the impending danger of trans people having access to the same healthcare system as everyone else in the state. Who is afraid of trans people? Who is afraid of trans people having equal access to healthcare? Of having our equality not denied by the continual violence that is represented by the settler state that we're in? Equal access to healthcare remains a struggle that we are fighting for in this state and everywhere else on this continent. I need not mention that New South Wales remains to have put the poorest LGBT rights in this country, and the fact that this is all honestly this is all a distraction from the fact that despite Pride Month, despite the pride flags, the rainbow flags that are set up across the city, and despite the fact that the New South Wales Labour Party could dare come up to the streets, not even come up to the streets, stand in their cowardice in the parliament just to give a formal apology so that they could hide from the fact that they have been the one that's implementing the worst LGBT rights record in the country, and to continue to implement basically just full backing, continue to have full backing for genocidal attack, whether it is on Gadigal land or on occupied Palestinian country. And it remains to be seen that New South Wales Labour has done anything alongside with everyone else in that parliament, whether it is the Libertarian Party, whether it's the Liberals, or of course and the Labour Party. It remains to be seen that they have done anything to effectively forward our rights onwards. And in fact, what they have done is to varying degrees of counterproductive, and to set back our struggle and the movement to fight for our basic human rights that continue to be violated throughout the state as such. And this is also in the context of everything from genocidal violence against women in Gaza, everything from bailout laws that continue to target disproportionately indigenous communities and women across unceded and occupied Aboriginal land. And yet these people are out here to say that, oh, we are here to represent the rights of women, and we call bullshit. And as such, I would like to end my speech that I've been going on with a chant, perhaps. Equality delayed is equality denied. Equality delayed.
Equality denied.
Equality delayed.
Equality denied.
Equality delayed.
Equality denied.
Thank you. Glory to the resistance.
So maybe just tuck in. We love our ambers. Woo! Oh wait. Okay, it's going back. Okay, sit. Yeah. Okay, I think I can keep on going. So I want to circle back around to this event that's going on in the Parliament. We have that detransitioner, Cohn, who is talking these conservative talking points for John Ruddick, this libertarian crackpot. The first time a libertarian has actually really given a shit about a minor's consent. Anyway, but what is really going on is that this forum is going to be where the sensible politicians, the Liberals and Labour Party, create their talking points for when they debate and when they whittle down the equality bill to pass their own piss-weak equality bill, where we might get self-ID, where we might get half of an anti-discrimination act repealed, we don't want to repeal, but reformed. But
Will there be anything for sex work? Will there be anything for trans children who need that life-saving care? No, there won't. Not if they get their way. Shame. You see, detransition is a total load of bullshit. Any sensible study that is peer-reviewed will show you that it is about 1 in 1,000 or something fucking small, and half the time it is because those people have been pushed back into the closet by things like discrimination, by parents who push them back because of societal pressures. It becomes too hard as a trans person to live. And that is horrific. That is shameful that we are made to feel shame. Shame! Shame! So, what is it we can do? We can fight. We can continue to fight. We can make sure that it is our equality bill on our terms that goes through that parliament. We can always, all the time, be fighting and constantly pressuring the Labour Party. If they put through half an equality bill, we remind them that half equality is not equality. That is inequality. Shame on Labour. Shame. And so, I want more people to come up and tell their stories, their experiences about the parts of the bill that are at risk of not being passed. Who is it who can come forward and tell us their stories? I'm looking at somebody. Damien, please help me. All right, well, I'm gonna keep talking. What did you say?
Should we march?
We should. All right. I think we're ready to march. So we're going to march on Parliament, and we're going to tell them what we think. Because they did not give us any time of day back then when there was the inquiry into the equality bill. We will now tell them what we think today. So, I'm going to pick up this thing. Can you actually pick up? You got it? Have you actually got it? Okay.
Take it.
Rights are under attack. What? Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to. What do we do? When trans rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. When the queer rights are. Fuck, can someone else do the chanting? I fucking suck at this. Please, a member of the community. Help me.
Say I can shout it really loudly.
Racist, sexist, anti-queer bigots are not welcome here. Go with that.
I think that speaks for itself. Small bunch today, but
Racist, sexist, anti-queer, bigots are not welcome here. Racist, sexist, anti-queer.
Out the bars and into the streets.
Together we stand, together we fight.
Together we stand, together we fight.
We demand our equal rights.
We demand our equal rights.
Out of the closets and into the streets.
Out of the closets and into the streets.
Out of the cars and into the streets.
Out of the bars and into the streets.
Together we stand, together we fight.
Together we stand, together we fight.
We demand our equal rights.
We demand our equal rights. Are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. When trans rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back.
stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back.
Mobilizing into God. All right. Now I think we'll just put it up there. And here we are at the Parliament. Somewhere in there is John Ruddick. Somewhere in there is Cohn. Somewhere in there is that random thumb-looking psychiatrist they got, something Amos, to legitimize that stuff. Academic psychiatrist, by the way. If he was actually treating patients, that would be very, very bad. And they're having that little forum. And the Liberals and the Labour Party MPs are in there preparing to cut us into little pieces. Shame! So, I think it's time we tell our stories. Who is it that wants to come up and say their piece about the equality bill, about their life, about their hardships? Come on, please.
I'll grab the mic for a little.
Woo! Damien from the Sex Worker Action Collective and Pride in Protest. Let's fucking go!
Can I ask everyone come a bit closer into the mic just so we have... Good evening, everyone. I really like making these speeches here because when you have a speech here, actually you can hear it very far down below, and then you feel like queer liberation sort of is spreading downward to the streets and upward to the streets. My name is Damien. I am a member of Pride and Protest. I would like to start off my speech by acknowledging that we are gathering on the Gadigal land of the Eora Nation, that the liberation for trans rights for the queer community necessitates the liberation for Indigenous people. We know at the moment that we are campaigning on a lot of legislation and actually on a lot of reforms that actually the Black community are campaigning on as well, like fighting against the police, like kicking the police out of our community and coming up with a solution that doesn't necessitate the police. And I hope that today, as we are marching on the street, as we are hearing speeches from a lot of the time, a lot of new speaker, we will, I guess, understand and have that sentiment in mind that the work that we do is Indigenous liberation, is Black liberation, is queer liberation. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna start off my speech with a chant to basically get a crowd engaged. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, kick the bigots out the door. 5, 6, 7, 8.
No right to discriminate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Kick the bigots out the door.
5, 6, 7, 8.
No right to discriminate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Kick the bigots out the door.
5, 6, 7, 8.
No right to discriminate.
I need you to be a bit louder than that so that the end of the street can hear us. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Kick the bigots out the door.
5, 6, 7, 8.
No right to discriminate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Kick the bigots out the door.
5, 6, 7, 8.
No right to discriminate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Kick the bigots out the door.
5, 6, 7, 8.
No right to discriminate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Kick the bigots out the door.
5, 6, 7, 8.
No right to discriminate.
Righty. One of the reasons why we call this rally today is because of a very real reality of a prioritization struggle that is happening inside the state. As you can see, there's two banners here. There's the TERF of our TERF banner and the Equality Without Exemption banner. These two banners are inherently interlinked for a very simple reason. That reason being that at the moment in this state, with a Labour-led government, we are seeing a prioritization of TERF, of culture war, over the actual reality of what our rights should look like. What we are actually seeing is that instead of focusing on addressing self-ID, of addressing birth certificate reform, what we are seeing is that Member of Parliament is inviting anti-trans feminists, so-called feminists, into this house. This disgusting behavior have lasted for years and years and years. In fact, last year, also during Pride Month, we were also standing here, actually with that same banner, because they were holding a conference of 8 of the biggest TERF in this country. And we were there and we drowned them out, and that is why this year, instead of having TERF from Australia, they imported an almost nobody. That is why this year, instead of having, you know, all these really famous TERF in Australia that have campaigned for the Liberal, that have called rally in which the literal Nazis show up, shame, that we have Chloe Cole and almost nobody that is really difficult to look up, that I'm sure half of the people in this rally doesn't know about. The people that we know about is actually the disgusting member, John Ruddick, who is going to call an action of which bigots are willing to come. It is about facilitating a political narrative of which that Australia is one of the, is going to have, that detransitioning is a political argument that isn't viable in Australia, which it isn't. And that is the fortunate reality for us here. And so I want to discuss a way forward, this is going to be my last part of my speech, and then I hope some people will come up and have maybe even like 1 or 2 sentences, leave some chance, because I think different from Parliament's action, we have speaker invited from other area. We actually want to hear about the residents who live here and what queer liberation and actually what that means to you. And if you don't have anything to say, you can come up and have some small chance, and that might be really cool. So yesterday marked a really important date for our community. It is Pride Month, but it is also the 10-month point after the Equality Bill was introduced to Parliament. What that means is that it has been 10 months. It has been 10 months so far that the Labour Party-led Parliament in this state had denied our rights. That means that the Labour Party have actively denied our right to transition in this state for the last 10 months. That means that in the last 10 months, the Labour Party, despite knowing that sex workers in this state are being assaulted, that sex workers in this state, which are an industry with a really high proportion of trans people, knowing that their bank account is being frozen, knowing that they're being denied housing, which is an ongoing crisis for our community, is willing to just sit there and delay and go through consultation process after consultation process. After the most recent review, which came out at the beginning of this month, we know that from now to August, there will be a negotiation between Member of Parliament, and there will be processes of which the Equality Bill is going to be discussed. And this is the most critical time for us to campaign around this bill. This is the most critical time because we know that our member of our community are being sacked from their job. That a lot of us here today are uni students or are worker in casualized position. But right now, if you work in a religious institution, like a religious school or a religious charity, you can be fired just on the basis of the one that you love. Shame. And we must commit to campaigning around the equality bill legislation and demand that the entire bill be passed in full. Okay, I now want to shout out a date, which is coming up, and I really hope everyone will be there. The Labour Party conference is up very soon. For anyone who doesn't know what the Labour Party conference is, it is the date in which a member of the Labour Party sat down and decide what should happen in the next year. And from all our indication, it seems like the Labour Party is at that conference is not going to pass protection against religious discrimination. And it seems like the Labour Party is not going to even have sex work on the agenda. And so we are going to be there, and we are going to shout them out! Alrighty, I'm going to end my speech with a chant. When I say equality, you say in full. Okay. Equality! In full! Equality! In full! Equality! In full! Equality! In full! When you say equality, you say without exemption. Equality! Without exemption! Equality! Without exemption! What do we want? Trans right! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want it? Now! How are we gonna get in? Fight for it! How are we gonna get in? Fight for it! How are we gonna get in? Fight for it! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want it? Now! And how are we gonna get in? Fight for it!
Yeah, I like being one of it. Okay, so
let me just spitball here, and this is a demonstration to anybody. If you feel like talking, you probably should talk. If I can talk, you can talk. Okay. So, I kind of want to lay the landscape as to why those people in there platform these fucking, you know, morally irrelevant bigots. It's kind of stupid. Like, the moral argument was lost not last year, not 2 years ago. It was lost fucking 30 to 40 years ago. Most of this stuff is completely bullshit and completely irrelevant. Anyone with half a mind knows that they have no factual, no moral, and not really any fucking leg to stand on, really. So, why is it the case? I've been doing a bit of thinking, and I think it all comes down to the thing we queers love the most. Real estate. Property. Assets. What a wonderful thing to have. Imagine if we had a massive queer portfolio of like assets throughout Sydney, right? Like, imagine how much Chris Mintz would go, I'm listening, if I had a massive property portfolio. That would be fun. Now, looking over there, it seems like there's a particular institution that we all know and love that has a massive property portfolio that seems to have most, if not all, of the private schools, private hospitals, private this, private that. Turns out it's religious organizations, who'd have thunk? And so, yeah, I think really it's just wonderful nowadays that all you really have to do to get a seat at the table is have a massive property portfolio relevant to our government. And so, yeah. He's fun. So yeah. So yeah. Like, it's actually kind of fucked that you have a government that essentially, yeah, wants to champion queer rights, but fundamentally just sells out every single fucking time, really. That, yeah. And so, yeah, look, that's kind of why I, as a queer person, bang on about like anti-privatization, this, that, relatat, because it generally kind of goes to religious institutions anyway, and then they use their power to kind of like go, hey, you, I want a seat at the table, and they're like, okay, yeah. So, to me, queer liberation is not necessarily winning moral arguments, it's not necessarily winning this argument, that argument. It's undoing the institutions that have a vested interest in well, just have a vested interest against us, really. So, yeah. Yeah, so I reckon, yeah. So, yeah, look, a lot of this stuff is just completely morally irrelevant. The fact that we're out here kind of demonstrates fundamentally that they have no moral relevancy, no this, no that, no relatat. They're just buying a seat at the table, and take comfort in that, because fundamentally you can buy a seat at the table, but at the end of the day, out here on the streets, the more we shout, the more they'll listen. Thank you.
That is so right about what this is really about. It is about the church buying their bargain with the state.
And that's why we say, not the church, not the state, only we decide our fate. Not the church, not the state, only we decide our fate. I got the order. Not the church, not the state, only we decide our fate. Not the church, not the state, only we decide our fate. And I want to say that when it comes to the church and the state and the right, they talk about us being against future, against building a future, about just wanting to destroy. And the truth is, we are here to create, because I think more and more about the fact that I am looking down the barrel of the end of my life, about a future that doesn't go past 40. I want to live past 40. I want a future for myself. What this is about, when we talk about children not being able to access gender-affirming care, when we talk about us only being able to change our gender identity on our birth certificates unless we get these expensive surgeries that are basically inaccessible for most of us who are condemned to poverty. Shame. Shame. Because of the discrimination that the anti-discrimination bill the amendments will seek to address, is about queer people not having a future, about a society that enforces that upon us. Shame! Shame! This bill is about creating future for our community. I am sick about my community not having a future. Shame! Shame! I want a future for every one of us. I am sick of hearing about suicides. I am sick of hearing about hate crimes. I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of the poverty. I'm sick of every fucking element that we are up against. And I'm sick of the church, and I'm sick of the state, and I'm sick of that handshake agreement. I'm sick of the police. I'm sick of fucking all of it. They're to beat us down. They did it with gays and lesbians. They still do it with gays and lesbians, and they did it with trans people then, and they're doing it with trans people now. I'm sick of it. Shame. Shame. Every one of us has felt that urge to fucking end it all. Every one of us is facing a future where it gets grimmer and grimmer, where the future gets darker and darker, where it's harder and harder to find that community to keep ourselves strong. That's what this is about. And we will fight, and we will keep our community together. We will stay strong. And we will get our equality bill in full on our terms, not the Labour Party's equality bill, not anyone else's equality bill, but our equality bill. Who else can speak to this? Who else can speak to the horror and the suffering that they've gone through and the perseverance that they will show to fight for this equality bill? We have Lauren here from the Queer Action Collective, and she's going to tell us about what she's had to endure. Go, Lauren.
Quay. I think that we're all sick and tired of trying to debunk these useless arguments that TERFs have put forward. Every single argument to debunk these things has already been made, so I'm not going to give time to that. I'd like to read a comment that was left under one of Pip's posts for this protest, which I think is especially good. It says, "They claim detransition is common, but in reality it's so rare that they have to ship in grifters from overseas." I think this sums it up perfectly. While these people claim to care about children, you will not hear a peep from these people about protecting intersex children and babies from invasive normalization surgeries at an age where they cannot talk. Because at the end of the day, these people don't care about children's safety or health. They care about enforcing a biological binary that does not exist. Shame! They are actively against bodily autonomy. That's what this conference is about.
Shame!
This is not about protecting women. This is not about protecting children. Because if it was, they would understand gender-affirming care reduces suicidal ideation for trans people by 70%. That was 70%. They'd understand that access to this care is life-saving. That's why we're asking that all parts of the Equality Bill are passed without further delay. That includes self-ID, that includes birth certificate reform, that includes sex work on the ADA, and that includes allowing 16 and 17-year-olds full access to gender-affirming care. What do we want? Trans rights. When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Trans rights!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Trans rights!
When do we want it?
Now!
I'm still the host. Next up, we're going to have. Are we going to have? Oh, you're just. All right. Yeah. I'm so thankful that Lauren came up here and said her piece. Yeah. It's such a hypocrisy that they talk about the rights of children. It's not even like it's always that total horseshit that it's the TERF argument that's standing for women's rights, but where are they on women's rights? Where are they when black mothers are having their children stolen from their hands, from their communities? It's, in fact, these anti-discrimination bills will create reforms that mean the churches have less of an ability to steal those children out of communities. Because I want to talk about Anglicare. Anglicare use these anti-discrimination loopholes where the church can use their power to discriminate against gays, lesbians, trans, anyone queer, and fuck me.
You got this!
They can use these exceptions to basically run the show however they want. So Anglicare, who is the people who, thanks to neoliberalism, run our adoption and quote unquote social services, they basically use this exemption to take a child, put it into a white family, and then they took this little girl away from her black mother, and when her auntie asked her, oh fuck me, I'm so tired. When her auntie, who was a lesbian, offered to take care of her, she was sidelined again and again after multiple requests to take that child back into community. Why? Because she was a lesbian. Shame! They will do this again and again and again until the Anti-Discrimination Act is repealed. Woo! Repealed, reformed, fuck. These are the kind of things the church gets away with because of this. And where are the TERFs on that? They're nowhere to be found on this issue of women's rights. Can someone else fuck me? Juno! Juno is back! Queer Action Collective.
A few more words from what I've already said. And I was just thinking about the fact, remembering off the top of my head that reading about a story of gay men being denied healthcare, equal access to healthcare, and one of the accounts actually described as this is not death, this is actually political assassination, and this is despite the differences in our concrete conditions, fundamentally this is what the state is trying to enforce, the beginning stages of that upon trans and queer communities, whether it is through denying people equal access to healthcare, to basically wear our community down by attrition, and whether it is to enforce state violence and police brutality upon members of our queer community. It is basically the state that continues to enforce their monopoly on violence to wear down our rights, our communities, and continue this the beginning phases of a campaign of political assassination against queer and trans identities. And I also was just reminded by the fact that I was talking to someone recently. I was talking to another trans person, and I was mentioning about a fairly recent event of how at the Hillshire Council basically drag was banned, and their response was wait, wasn't that at Cumberland Council? And that is actually such an indictment on the state of queer rights in New South Wales, that the fact that we are there are so many attacks on our rights that people are getting confused. Even I sometimes confused that the fact that to be clear, the Hillshire Council have banned drag in the Hillshire region and in Cumberland Council, and this is your daily reminder that it was in fact a member of the Australian Labour Party that basically greenlit like the attempt to basically ban same-sex parenting material from council library. And it is with the abstention from a Labour deputy mayor that it went through. And in fact, it was because of our queer and trans communities that showed up, that refused to have our voices silenced and like show up en masse to show that we remain here, that our presence should be heard and should be seen everywhere, whether it is in the inner west, in Western Sydney, in the Hillshire or whatsoever. We will not be silenced, and we will be here, and we will not let the Labour Party continue to pink-wash their fucking record when it comes to LGBT rights. And it remains to be the case that this is a case of Labour has continued not just this campaign of political assassination, but also pink-washing, just fucking shameless pink-washing of what they have done to our queer and trans identities and rights and communities. Meanwhile, Chris Mintz, just fairly recently, issued a formal apology for what they have historically done to gay men in this state. And need I not remind everyone, first of all, that it is not just a historical process, it is an ongoing state monopolized violence that is weaponized against queer and trans communities. And it remains to be seen that the Labour Party will do anything for our rights. And it is also the case where you have Chris Mintz and the Labour Party having their fucking shameless float during Mardi Gras, when in fact they have continued to defend the New South Wales Police Force, which this is again a daily reminder that this is the same fucking police force that murdered 2 members and other members of our queer community just before Mardi Gras. And despite our voices and our demands that the New South Wales Police Force should not show up at Mardi Gras parade, they still showed up in plain clothes. What this means is it's even worse than them showing up in their uniform, because at least in their uniform, I would know that this is the face of the repressive state. Instead, what they sent in was police officer in plain clothes. What they had was undercover police. What they had was the secret police marching among us at our own parade, at our own Mardi Gras. When in fact it was queer and black and queer people of color that have been at the front line fighting everything from police brutality and for queer liberation, and still they show up en masse to continue to basically perpetuate state violence upon us. And it's also the case that the New South Wales Police Force that is being greenlit by this Labour Party continues to repress protests by our members of our community, whether it is the Queers for Palestine that have showed up en masse to demand that this Labour Party stop its complicity in supporting a settler colonial genocide against another indigenous people in Palestine, and whether it is at various protests and various rallies that our community on and on will show up in solidarity with all marginalized and vulnerable populations. It is the Labour Party that continues to defend this police force to perpetuate that violence. And what I would like to say is there are members right now of Labour right there in the forum listening to John Ruddick and his grifters talk about repeating the same talking points to fearmonger about the danger of queer communities having equality. Well, I say to the members of Labour in this building, in this settler institution, that they should actually grow a spine, take a stand. Is it because that your fucking backbone is just fused to your parliament seat that you cannot stand up for the community that you're supposed to represent? Is it because that your fucking ass is printed onto that fucking seat that you cannot take a stand and walk out of that room? That is the least you could do. And I would encourage the members in this settled institution to not just get up from their seat and to leave their parliament, but to actually take a stand at the Labour conference, where like they will go on and on to basically greenlit the continued support for Zionist settler colonial terrorism against the Palestinian people. And it is actually shameful what they have done. And honestly, if you are a member of the Labour Party, like it should be by now that you should be like that you should grow a backbone and stop being a fucking invertebrate. And literally like walk out of that room, burn your fucking Labour card, you fucking complicit genocidal party. I would like to end this speech with a chant, surely, off the top of my head. Now I'm thinking, hold on, give me a sec. Just thinking off the top of my head. Equality delayed?
Equality denied!
Equality delayed!
Equality denied!
Equality delayed!
Equality denied!
Equality delayed!
Equality denied!
No hesitation, no delay!
Sex work on the ADA!
No hesitation, no delay!
Sex work on the ADA!
No hesitation, no delay!
Sex work on the ADA!
No hesitation, no delay!
Sex work on the ADA!
Squares, squares, squares for Gaza!
Globalize the Intifada!
Squares, squares, squares for Gaza!
Globalize the Intifada!
Squares, squares, squares for Rafah! Squares, squares, squares for Rafah!
Globalize the Intifada!
Whether it is to fight settler colonialism or for queer liberation. Solidarity forever to all communities.
This equality bill, they do not march with us at Mardi Gras. Woo! So they are now on notice. An equality bill in full, or it's going to get very fucking ugly if they try to set foot on Oxford Street come March next year. Woo! So yeah, look forward to that, Chris Minns and whoever else. That includes the other queer ones who won't get in line. Penny Sharp. So you better get very fucking militant, Penny. And yeah, next up I want to let M take the floor. He's a member of our community and he's gonna say a few words.
The first time actually getting on a mic, so I'm sort of just freeballing this. So, my name is Emil. I am a drag king and a proud transgender man. And you know, obviously there's no use debunking whatever they're fucking talking about because they're not gonna fucking listen. But I'd just like to say, I have been out as a trans man since 2014, so 10 years. I've been taking testosterone since 2017, and I don't regret a fucking second of it. So, all this talk about regret and all that sort of, it's just fucking bullshit. Shame. Oh yeah, I would like to acknowledge that I am on unceded Gadigal land, and I would like to further extend my solidarity with the Palestinians currently in. Sorry, I'm terrible at this. No one is free until all of us are free. So let me tell you a bit of background about myself. I come from Mount Druitt. So I would just, yeah, 2770. But I'd just like to say, I'd just like to call back to that whole like Cumberland Council rally. I saw a particular sign that said, "Pee off back to Newtown." But it's the thing of like, these little small-brained little chuds don't seem to realise that queer people exist west of Strathfield. This isn't some newfangled Newtown thing. I only moved out of Western Sydney last year, so you know, that's fucking proof of it, but this whole thing about, oh, we're protecting women, oh, these TERFs, J.K. Rowling, whoever the fuck the lady is in there, honestly, I've already forgotten her name, but they talk about, oh, we're protecting women. Your whole ideology, the onus of your whole ideology is basically seeing women as walking vaginas. I think there's shame. I think there's a word for that. Misogyny. So, yeah. And I am, if I may get serious for a second, I am fucking sick and I am fucking tired of seeing my trans brothers and sisters and siblings getting fucking hate crimed on the streets and getting fucking abused by the cops, getting fucking legislated against. I'm fucking tired of it. I'm gonna scream it from the fucking rooftops so you cunts in there can hear. Equality delayed!
Equality denied!
Equality delayed!
Equality denied!
Equality delayed!
Equality denied!
We aren't going fucking anywhere! So, woo! I want to thank you for having, and you know what? It wasn't the cops that protected me. It wasn't any sort of institutional thing. It was community care, mutual aid from my fellow queers, and you know, that's how it's gonna be. And because of them, I finally have a reason to be standing here today, to be fucking, oh my god, to fucking, I have a reason to fucking live and to fight. This time last year, I was almost on death's doorstep because I was thinking to myself, well, the world fucking hates me. You know, big institutions, the big governments, and you know, the whole big thing. But no, like, there is hope. And if there's any young queer person, young trans person, whatever, that is listening to this, there is a fucking future for us. You know, there is hope, and we will continue to fight for that. And that is the driving force that will keep us all together and, you know, quoting in excess, never fucking tear us apart. So, I'd like to end with a little chant as tradition. When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
So what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
So what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Powerful. I'm so glad we're having voices from the community finally. Yeah. Oh, we've got more. Yes, let's go. All right. Who am I introducing? Yeah, we've got Silio. They'll introduce themselves. Let's go.
Hi, Silio. I'm a member of the Socialist Alliance. I haven't really spoken at a trans rally before.
Put the mic super close.
Huh?
Put the mic super close.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, you can do that too.
What I'd like to say is that we are humans too. We are human beings too. Why are we being denied, you know, the care we need? If our government can take the humanity away from anyone, from you know, adults who should be able to make their own decisions, who should have control over their own bodies, then what does that mean? This is not a government that represents people. It's not a government that represents humanity. And we can see that so plainly in this complete dragging of the feet, in this complete inability to just give us our basic rights. This government doesn't see us as people and doesn't see us as human, and it doesn't see, as much as it doesn't see Palestinians as people, as much as it can deny the rights of its indigenous landowners. This government controls our bodies, our lives, and this is not just about us. This is about all of us. This is about women's rights as well. TERFs don't know what they're talking about. They think they just want to be in there. They just want to be, sucking up to these corporate bodies, these institutions. They don't know. They're not for people. They're not for women. They're not for humanity. And neither is our government. It's all bullshit.
Come off it.
We're here. We're queer. We're fabulous. Don't fuck with us. We're here. We're queer. We're fabulous. Don't fuck with us. We're here. We're queer.
We're fabulous, don't fuck with us.
We're here. We're queer.
We're fabulous, don't fuck with us.
Pride was a riot.
We won't be quiet.
Pride was a riot.
We won't be quiet.
Thank you very much.
She's gonna say a few things. Hello, I'll keep it short and sweet because my voice is killing me a little bit today. But we are standing here in front of Parliament House. It is currently Labour controlled and they are complicit in genocide. Ongoing on several fucking levels actually. They've got the gall to be flying the Indigenous flag in front of the house on the land that was stolen and has never been shown the rightful respect that it deserves towards the people whose landowners it was, who were here for thousands upon thousands of years before colonial invasion, and has such a fucking gap between the outcomes of our First Nations people and non-First Nations peoples. It is a shame, and they have the audacity to pretend they're doing anything but an ongoing genocide. We have a parliament who is still funding a genocide over in the Middle East, which has claimed the lives of so many people and will continue to claim the lives of so many people because our leaders are fucking cowards. And you can see it on the walls. Unfortunately, the UK and the US are a little bit of a sounding board for Australian trends in politics. And if we look at them, it's worrying. If we look at the fucking report from Westmead Hospital last year, it's extremely concerning. If we had a treatment for depression that curbed the rates of self-abuse or even suicide that gender-affirming care does for trans people, it would be a miracle. But we have a treatment that works, and yet the government is willing to entertain and even fund research against it, against self-ID laws, because they don't care about trans people, and they absolutely do not care for young trans people. It is a fucking shame to have to call myself Australian, but it's heartening to see that people are here. We are willing to fight, that we want to fight, and we are not going to stop fighting until we have a government that is willing to get their head out of their fucking arse. Thank you very much. That's me today.
Thank you so much, Rose. We are good to close the rally. Thank you so much for coming along. Oh, we are going to have a group photo, so get up against the wall and we'll all huddle in. Okay, that does sound like a... Yeah, I get the joke. I get that. All right.
Stand up, fight back!
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
And then this is inside the Jubilee room in the Parliament where the people, it's just finished now, it's just wound up. I came in for the last part, and that's the detransitioning lady over there in front of the light, and yeah, everyone that was listening. It was interesting to hear both sides of it all today. So I'll try and get the footage of today's one as well, and I'll put all my footage and maybe just join them together so you can see it as what happened at the counter protest and what's happening in here.
Great, thank you.